What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the locker room. I am your host and your favorite Kansas City girl, Kennedy Bright. And as always, what is said in the locker room stays in the locker room. Let's get your playbooks ready, guys. Since I no longer live in Kansas City, Missouri, am I able to even say that line anymore? Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. It is literally no secret that I am long overdue for a new episode to bring to you guys. And I'm overdue for like an episode on YouTube in general, just everything. Also want to make a quick disclaimer: if you are watching this on YouTube, if it seems a little tilted or anything like that, that's because this is the first time that I've been recording since with my new camera and the ring light set up in a new place and all that. And I just decided at 4 a.m. I was gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about it today. So that is why it's a little off centered. I'll get the hang of it, but you're supposed to be here for my voice anyway, so just pay attention to that. Anyways, back to the show. So I am long overdue for episodes, and I want to give you guys a life update so it actually applies to where I've been and why I have not been posting on the podcast and whatnot. Also, I was going to do this with my friend, but I feel like this needs to be a completely separate episode. Me being able to talk to you guys and explain to you what's going on in my life. And then me and her, we're going to do our episodes later. But I do have a lot of content planned, from like talking about dealing with groupies when it comes to athletes, the fan behavior, talking about how to deal with when they get injured and why you don't mess with rookies. Like, we got a lot of content, she and I, planned. So I'm going to bring that to you. Don't worry. I'm going to do my best to tell this story in a way that makes sense without sharing too much of other people's business in the process. Although it's my business, it's my truth, it's not just mine. So I kind of want to tread lightly and make sure that I'm not sharing other people's business. You know what I'm saying? So if it doesn't make sense, then that's why. I originally wasn't even gonna go into detail about all this. I was just gonna, keep it hush hush, didn't really care because no one really would be able to tell. And not to mention my brother, I was talking to him and he was like, this is what people don't talk about when people move, trying to make it and this and that. All you see is what social media does. All you see is the limelight, the great part of it, but they don't see the grit and the hustle. So I was like, you know what? Let me bring it to people. Let me really document this journey and they really get to see what's going on. If you have known me since high school, then you would know that Kennedy Alexis Bright, that's me, from Kansas City, Missouri, she wants to be a sports broadcast journalist. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to TCU. I like TCU, Baylor, and I like Texas A&M for track. But I was going to go to TCU, and I was going to do my internship in the summers with ESPN Dallas, going to work and cover the Cowboys. That's my life. That is what I was going to do. So when people heard that I moved, everyone assumes I am out here living my best life. Like, I came here for work, or this is just where I want it to be. And originally, a couple months ago, this is not where I want to be actually. I want to be in DC. And that's what we're going to talk about, how I went from Kansas City to literally here. I moved here within like a 2-week notice. Was like, you know what? All right, that's where I'm headed. The story is going to start off back in pretty much April. My brother graduates college this year. He is going to move to New York. I'm not going to say his job just because I don't stalkers. He's moving to New York to start his career. He got a job before he even graduated. That's where he's headed this fall. My sister's 18. She's graduating high school, St. Teresa's Academy, stand up, period. And she's going away to college. At this time, she's going to Loyola, Maryland, and she's staying with a family member because it's like a crazy expensive school. And if she gets to stay with a family member, then she doesn't have to live on campus as a freshman. So cool. I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. Like, my siblings are not leaving me here by myself. So it's time to leave too. So I decided to move to DC. It was between DC and moving to Phoenix because I have friends out there. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out there to DC, give myself 6-7 months and really kind of build my own life and build a routine of being by myself and being a complete individual. And then we'll go ahead and move to, Phoenix and live our best life and party. Now, May, my sister has never visited the school. She's never been out there to Maryland or the Baltimore area. So I said, why don't we take a trip? Me and you, we can go out there, be a nice vacation, and we can go and see what's happening out here. And you can see if you're going to like it. But like at this point, anything goes, right? She's like, okay, cool. In May, we find out basically she can't stay with this family member anymore. So we're like, what is she going to do? It's a $60,000 school, which we later find out just tuition is $60,000, not including everything. And she only has a $20,000 scholarship. Okay. So I said, fine, I'll move out there. I'm gonna get us a place. So we planned out there. I'm almost done uploading the official, like all of the vlogs. Like I still have some more I need to upload because that trip was hilarious. We ended up going there and we're also going to look for apartments. So I am working my tail off April and May because originally I wasn't going to move out there till about September. I want to give myself more time to build up my savings. I wanted to have about 3 to 4 months rent saved up front, and of course, like all my fees. And then I was gonna, move out there, find like a 7, 8 month lease or whatever. So now my plan is completely escalated because my sister starts school in August, which means I got to be moved by July, August. So I am grinding, I'm hustling. So last thing I'm doing or being able to do is really record content, think of content, record podcasts, reach out to guests because I'm working. And so is my sister. We worked at the same place, but she worked in a position where she only makes $10 an hour, whereas like I don't. My checks are pretty big, okay? So we're working our tails off. Like my sister's working doubles. I was working like 6 days a week. We also no longer lived at home anymore by May. So it's me like driving us everywhere we need to go, work, school, whatever. Well, she's out of school at that point, but wherever we need to go, that's costing gas, that's buying us food. Don't get me wrong. Please remember, my sister makes $10 an hour. She also is 18. I'm 24. So I feel like it's my responsibility, to take care of her. So she was chipping in. She would pay for food sometimes. I'm not saying that, but I just make more money than her. So it just made more sense. So we're working all the time. We're trying to pay for food. Like you can imagine, like it's kind of a lot because it's just me and her now. So that's kind of what was going on. And so I'm really stressed. So that's why, like, I just don't have time to even think about social media right now. I'm trying to figure out where we're going to live, everything. So we go for our visit. And when we get there, we have to get a rental car. We have our first hotel that we stayed in Maryland. And I helped her apply to other colleges as well that were out there. So we went to go visit some of her new schools. Then we also stayed the last like 4 days in DC. And then we ended up extending our trip because we really did not want to come back home. So we stayed longer and we extended our trip. So we ended up having 3 hotels total, a rental car, food every day. And the hotel we stayed in downtown cost $1,000. It was downtown DC. But do not get me wrong. Listen, my sister just graduated from high school. She is the last one of us three. And we went to the all girls private Catholic school. My brother went to the all boys version. So you can imagine the kind of kids that we're around. And I've always wanted to make sure my siblings have the best experiences ever. I was not hanging out with people. I was really to myself, sadly. My siblings weren't. They had friends. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that she had a great trip. I wanted to make sure she had fun. I wanted to make sure that, you know, she enjoyed it. In total I spent about like $4,000 or $5,000 on that trip alone. We were there for over a week. It was needed. We had a lot of fun, a lot of great experiences. Like I said, it's in the vlog. We get lost downtown, like it was definitely fun and it was 1,000% worth it. But if you can imagine, that's pretty much a lot of the money that I could have been using, for my move and everything. So we get back, and of course, we're still working. Time is crunching. I'm trying to figure out where we're going to live. Where we were originally going to stay was by where my job was being, where I was, my job, I was transferring my job. Well, you guys, my job was nowhere near being built. The only other place they had closest to one was going to be in DC. So now it completely shifted. So I've toured these apartments in the Maryland area and find out that I have to live in DC, which is over an hour away from where I was looking at to live. So I'm now more stressed trying to figure out everything. Like, oh my God, where am I going to stay now? And it's a lot of pressure. My sister and I are 6 years apart. I've always had that, like, I guess, older sibling gene, I guess you could say, where like it weighs a lot on me. And my friends would, try to tell me, like, your sister's older. She understands. She's not a little kid. And I'm like, no, but I just don't ever want my siblings to ever worry or work for anything, honestly. I kind of want to hand them everything. So I was just so stressed. I'm telling you, social media was the last thing I was thinking about. Like me getting content out took forever. I had a couple sponsorships this summer. So I was trying to hurry up and do those. And even that, like, y'all, it was a lot. Okay. So my money is just like drained. So we get to the end of the summer. We're still trying to figure out where we're going to stay. We've already bought our plane ticket. And I just kind of had a huge explosion. It was one of the worst episodes I've ever had, one of the worst moments. And I will say it this way. So you guys probably know my cousin Jamari. So She moved in July, her and her boyfriend out here to Dallas. And I didn't even know, but her mom lived here. So she was like contacting me. Everyone's contacting me, trying to make sure I'm okay. And her mom messaged me and said, "Hey, you can come here, pack your stuff right now. You and your sister come down here to Dallas. Y'all gonna stay with me and we're gonna make this work." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So that was like super nice. And I had, like somewhere to go because time was ticking, time was up. Like I had basically till the end of August, and I was trying to figure out where me and my sister were gonna live. Like, what were we gonna do? And I was running into a problem in DC, Maryland, and in Kansas City. We'll say this: there are things that are on my credit, my record, that weren't done by me that are causing harm to me being able to find a place. We'll say it like that. So I'm like overwhelmed, as I'm sure you can imagine. I'm like, what is going on? Like the simplest things in life are just becoming super stressful. So find out like middle of like August or so. My sister originally got a scholarship to a different school, and it was like the first school too. And so she's like, "Well, I'm just gonna go here." And I'm like, "Huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go to that school." And neither one of us thought it was gonna work out. So like she literally didn't even tell anyone that she was leaving for school. Um, and turned out it worked out. She got there, she got a scholarship, she got a couple other scholarships, she got a room and board. So she's there, she's happy. So don't worry about my sister, she's doing good. And it actually ended up working out for her. And as much as I'm happy, because that was like a huge weight on my shoulders, I was like, where am I gonna do? A lot of people too think that like I'm sure based off where I went to schools and how the kind of person I am, that everything's always handed to me and whatever. Like, no, nothing is ever handed to me. My siblings, we work for literally everything we have. Like everything we own, we worked for it and bought it. Like when we were little, like my nana bought us everything, my grandpa. So I can see why people think that, but that was my grandparents. So at this point too, like I said, I haven't lived at home since April, Mayish. And that means I'm not with my dog. So that was like so hard for me, missing Butters, and I'm not with my bunny, and I'm really stressed. In July, well, no, it was August that I found out. A month later, I found out my bunny died. Like, tragic, right? Everything is falling to pieces, and my bunny's dead. So that was really difficult. I'm still I knew I was going to Dallas. Like, I already had, like, okay, sure, I'll come. Like, I was in such a bad place that literally, like, the head, like, director of where I worked, she literally was individually handling my situation because I was having to talk to her because it was just too much. It was just not working, and it was a lot, okay? So she was like, "I can fast track your transfer, make sure it's there when you get there." So I was still leaving August 27th. That was a day that I was gonna leave to go to DC. Luckily, because I'm a Delta Fly member, Sky Mile or whatever it's called, I was able to switch my flight, and it was like $11 like difference, so that worked out. So I went ahead, switched my flight, and I'm like, okay, I'm moving. And even before I left, my dad was like, "Oh yeah, well like this is what you always wanted, yada yada yada." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, it is what I wanted, but I have had my life planned out my whole life." And not like literally where it's perfect, but like a really gross generalization of just how I saw myself. Although I've had a career switch, I don't want to do traditional journalism anymore. I still kind of have an idea of what I wanted to do. Like nothing was ever like a set in stone. Like if it doesn't happen like this, I don't go to this college. Well, my life's over. It's never been that, but I've had a lot of hiccups, as you guys know, in my college process, just everything in school. It just always has been a lot. Yeah, this is where I want to go, quote unquote. This is where I used to want to go. I used to want to live in Dallas, but this is not the person I want. When I went to DC, I loved DC. It was the best experience ever. The black families, the chocolate people, like I literally loved it. The vibes, the water, like that is where I wanted to be. So it was hard because I was coming here, and at the same time I was like, I need to be grateful because no one has been offering me help. Of course my grandparents have, but there's only so much, your grandparents can do. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. I knew I needed to leave Kansas City. Kansas City is a place for me where I am not happy. And a lot of times I don't like to talk about how I feel on social media Not because of, like how some people are like, "You don't want the world knowing your business." Not that, it's just if you guys knew how many people don't like me for no reason, how many people just wish that bad things happen to me and stuff, it's like to almost to be able to tell you guys how I feel feels like I'm giving into that, but I'm over it. I'm not gonna think that way anymore. Like, my life is my life, and no one can wish bad things upon me because they're already whatever they think they can, it's already happening. My anxiety, my depression, whatever. It's a part of who I am. So I had to leave Kansas City, you guys. I could not do it because everywhere reminded me of something bad that's happened to me, some triggers, some trauma. I felt like I wasn't around people who were wanting the same things I was wanting. I felt like there were a lot of people who kind of think small sometimes, and I cannot think that way. Like, I have this huge vision for my career, for myself, for what I want, the kind of person I want to be with, and I really had to go. I also have a person there that I'm did a break from. He and we both like need to work on ourselves this past year, doing stuff like I think he was going like to healing retreats and stuff, which I need to do that myself, but I felt like I couldn't grow and become a better person being in the same place as him because I'm always going to gravitate towards wanting to go back that way, and I cannot rely my life and my happiness on one person. So I felt like getting away would be good. Just let me jump start, let me just move my life completely. So I knew I needed to go. Like, it was no doubt in my mind. I'm telling you, when me and my sister got to DC, it was an amazing feeling. Amazing. Like, it felt different. I felt like I was in a different place. I felt happy. I felt like I could breathe. I felt just so at peace. So I knew I needed that. I knew I needed to leave. And I'm a huge person that you cannot spring things on me. Like, we gotta talk about it. We have to have a vision. I have to like coach myself up for it. When you just spring it, it hurts. So, like, when my sister was like, "Okay, I'm not going anymore to DC." Well, this time we were going to Dallas. Like, I'm not going anymore. Going to the other school. I don't want to say what school she's going to, but she said what school she was going to, and I'm like, "Wait, what? Like, this was not part of the plan. Like, what?" And it's like it's a college town, so of course, like, I wasn't gonna go there. But it was just like I felt really abandoned. I'm not gonna lie. I was feeling really abandoned because it was like now I'm really gonna be alone. My brother, he's gonna be in New York. My sister's now going to this school. And here I am. I'm just going to be by myself. And I wasn't fully prepared for it, but I definitely needed to be somewhere close to family. But my sister and, of course, my brother, they're like the only two people I really consider like family to where it's a good type of being around. So it's time for me to move. And I'm going back and forth. And it's a lot of emotions. Like, it's a lot. So, first off, when you guys ask me, you're like, how did I plan for my move? I did not plan for this move, in the way that you're thinking. This was not a traditional, like, influencer move. That's what I'm gonna call it. It was not an influencer move. I did not have all this money saved up. I did not have this plan, did not know where I was staying. I mean, I knew where I was staying, but, like, I didn't have, like, my apartment picked out. It wasn't what you think it was, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes we're all gonna be in places in life where we just gotta go. Girl, you just gotta get up, you gotta go. Okay, you're no longer in a safe place, safe environment, mentally, physically, whatever, and you need to leave. And I think the world makes us think that everything has to be perfect. You have to have it planned out. And sometimes you got to go. My personal opinion is as long as you have somewhere to lay your head at night and you're in a safe place, you have a plan how to, make income, make money, you got a way of transportation, you're fine. You know what I mean? So that's just the truth of the situation. The time comes. It's time for me to leave. I'm packing all my stuff up and it doesn't feel real. I've traveled a lot this year, shockingly. So for me, I keep thinking I just came here to visit and I'm coming back home. And I'm packing all my stuff up and we had been living with my great grandma, my sister and I, since, like I said, April or May. So I'm getting all my things. Like, I didn't bring my bed from home. Like, I didn't bring anything. I just kind of really want to start new, start fresh. And I planned on getting my own place in October because I was like, okay, cool. I got enough money already saved up. And then I'll work again another month in September because I started my new job. Well, it's the same company, but I got my job transferred. I'll start September 2nd. Work that whole month. That's 2 more checks, and then we'll be really set. We'll be comfortable, to move. My grandparents are already like, "We're gonna help you with financial." Like, they love that kind of stuff. We're already picked out. I already got my bed picked out. Like, everything's picked out. We just gotta go buy it. So I'm like, okay, I'm moving. I'm trying to really talk myself into it and not psych myself out and just be brave. I'm a huge homebody. I'm a huge stick to my roots kind of person. So I knew I needed it. And after that, this summer, I felt like a lot of falling out with people, family, everything. And I felt like this was really God. Like, He gave me no choice but to feel like I have to go. Like, He was like, I'm going to show you how people are so you can see they're not here for you, so you can leave. And my uncle, he's not my blood uncle, but I call him my uncle. He's my dad's best friend. They crossed and they fraternity together. Okay. And so I've known him always as Uncle Rocker, like since I was a kid. And I was talking to him this summer. I got really close to him again because that was like the guidance I needed. And he was like, Kennedy, you're old enough now. You have to realize you can create your own family. And I'm like, I don't want to create my own family. I want mine. And he's like, you can create your own family. You know, you can have it. And so I felt like what God was just showing me was like, you need to see how people are so that you know that there's nothing here for you anymore. I mean, like, it literally felt like He took everything from me that was in Kansas City so that, like, I would have no reason to even come back, to even want to stay and to go back and forth. Like, I had to go. So I'm leaving. All my stuff's packed up. We paid to get my car shipped, so I didn't have to drive it. So my car's supposed to come the next day. It was a little hiccup with the car, but it's fine. It got here. I land and I get to the family friend's house. So not to make this super long, actually, my job, it turns out there was a small hiccup in my transfer. And I was like so overwhelmed that it didn't even click to me till one of our friends here, he was like, why don't you literally just go up to your job? I was like, why didn't I think of that? So I go up there. I end up finally getting everything figured out like 2 weeks later. I had to get all my certifications because Texas had different certifications than back home. Got my certifications. I'm ready to go. The first time I literally got scheduled was like October 10th. You guys, October 10th. As you can imagine, I am now running through my savings. I am now freaking out. Like, what am I going to do for money? And I get really nervous, like to the point where like I can't even control like my thought process. So like I started applying to other jobs and everything around here in Texas to kind of see, what is there. I lived in Las Colinas, Irving at the time. So I lived by the lake. I would take these walks down to the lake and I would walk and I would come back, take showers, do yoga. I would do like walks for like 5 to 6 miles a day, just walking, feeling the breeze, and just trying to like have some type of normalcy in my life because it was really difficult. There'd be nights sometimes when I'll be on the floor like crying in the bathroom, like bawling my eyes out. And my Nana, she'd be on the phone and she'd start crying because she's like, there's so much more I wish I could do. And I'm like, Nana, I'm not your responsibility. Like, you're my Nana. I'm not your child. I don't want to freak you out, but I just need to talk to you. And so I'm just crying. Like, what am I supposed to do? This job isn't, the way it is. I planned on moving, like I said, in October. The same hiccups I was having with the moving in DC, Kansas City, and in Maryland, they're happening again here. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And I just felt like I had like no support. So yeah, it was a hot mess. The one thing is, my brother, I love him so much. He's been really supportive. That's like the talk that I was explaining in the beginning. He's like, Kennedy, this is what people don't talk about when you move. You've got to do this. You got to hustle. You got to work some jobs, get your income up, blah, 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 blah. My brother, my sister have been full speed supporting me. Like, you're going to make it out there. Don't you dare come back. Do not come back to Kansas City. My brother's like, you come back, like, you're never going to leave. You can't come back. You know what's here. And listen, I know what's waiting in Kansas City. And baby, let me tell you, it ain't what I need and it ain't what I want. Okay? Yes, I did say ain't. So my siblings are like, you're going to make it work. You got to make it work. Like, and they've been happy when I get job interviews and when I get a job, and they're just like really proud of me. They've been all supporting me in this move. So all my friends, they've been supporting me. They're like, you're good. I did have one friend, but clearly he's not a friend. He's like, you'll be back. Ever since he said that, that was my first week I was here. I've done nothing but want to make sure I never come back. Like, just because you want to stay there in that poisonous well of a city, guess what? I'm not. Well, I go ahead and I finally get scheduled for work. It was just a shadow shift, and I'm at work. And of course, like I said, I work for the same exact company, just of course in a different state. And one of the hardest things for me, I had a complete anxiety attack to the point where I literally had to go home. Everything looked the same, but I didn't recognize any of these people. And although I worked for this company for like 6 years, my sister started working there last year. So like now I'm used to like her working there. and I'll go like to where she's supposed to be in the front, and I'm like, she's not here, and I kind of had a little bit of episode, and they let me go home, and I'm in the car, and I'm literally just crying. I couldn't drive for like an hour and 30 minutes. I was literally in the car feeling so mentally defeated, so devastated. I was hurt. I was just having a whole episode. And I really felt like the only person I could be 100% honest with, the only person I could really talk to about it was my brother. My sister, I know she was in bed because it was kind of late and she's an hour ahead of me in time. A lot of people, I think, have expected me to come back home. I think a lot of people don't realize, like, I just don't have a home to go back to. That's not my home. Yeah, it took me like an hour to get myself together to be able to drive my car back to where I was staying. And I still sat in the car for like another 45 minutes. I would spend days during the day going to my car to cry. I'm not a huge, like, why me, God person, but just really feeling kind of like, why me? What am I supposed to do? You know the song Stand by Donald McClarkin, I think. I forgot how you say his name, but it's like, what do you do when you've done all you can? It seems like you can't make it through. You just stand. I'm like, I'm standing, but like, I'm not making it through. I don't know what to do. I felt like I had no support. I felt like I was alone, like I was isolated. The plan was like I was to come here. I was going to get help from a lady that the family friend knows. That plan didn't work out well. So I was like, well, shoot, what am I going to do? I don't know why God sent me here to Dallas yet. I don't know. But I think I've come across it. The career I want is here. The plan I want and the best place to do it is here. I think I need to get away. No, I know I need to get away from my family. I need to get away from everything that I once knew in Kansas City. Because if I'm being honest, I cannot fully heal and cannot fully be who Kennedy needs to be when I keep having to fake my reality and fake who I am and fake what's going on, behind closed doors. And I need to be away from that. I need to be away from people who think they know me and they really don't. And being here in Dallas, I can be Kennedy. Here in Dallas, I can go to a therapist and be real. I can be around people who, without even knowing, aren't going to trigger me by comments or reminders. It's now October, and my friend was coming in town for the Cowboys game. We had planned this. This is what we were going to do. She's coming in for the game. It's a lot of hiccups, and her friend already lives here. It's a lot of hiccups between all three of us end up having hiccups that weekend, trying to get this plan worked out, trip and everything. I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy these 2 nights in this hotel bed. I'm going to enjoy this game. Like, I need this, right? So one thing that was hard was the only person that ever contacted me when I left was my aunt. And what's kind of sad about it is she's actually my aunt through marriage. She used to be married to my uncle. She texted me the first day I was here. I ended up talking to her because as now I see like it's October 3rd for sure. So it's October 2nd, literally, because the game's on the 3rd. I'm like, my stay is going to be a little bit longer before I get everything back up. I'm just trying to figure things out. And like I said, at this point, I still haven't even been scheduled yet for my job. It's now been a month. So I'm freaking out. I moved here August 27th. She's like, come see me tomorrow after the game. I'm like, okay. So I come see her and she's like, you're staying here. You got a room here. We're going to get you situated. We're going to get you, on your plan. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. She sat me down on the computer. Like, girl, I was in there like 10 minutes. I'm applying to some other job. She's calling people she knows. And I end up getting a job where I work now, where I make more money than I was making before, where I can afford a place to stay. I now stay here with her and I move in February. Like, really in a grateful place right now where I'm working. I'm grateful I have a car, a roof over my head, I have a bed, I have a plan, I have a goal, and I've been meeting like friends. A girl I went to high school with, and it's not just like I went to high school with her, like I used to talk to her in high school, and like her best friend was on the track team with me, so like that's how like we really were close. Plus our school literally had like 8 Black people. So anyways, she lived here, and so we went out to brunch and it was so nice. We went out to brunch. And it was just good to be around somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like to be around not just someone that was a familiar person, but just to be around a person, eat and feel like a 24-year-old and just kind of enjoying my life. So when you guys ask about my move, I feel like I'm still in the process of my move right now, literally. I'm still in the process of moving to my own place, to this or that. As much as like I am grateful that everyone knows this is where I used to want to live all the time. So it helps that no one asks me questions about why I moved. Love it. but I did kind of want to like just be a little bit real about it. And at the same time, I wanted to be vulnerable about my move and my plan. Mentally for me, how would I say it? The move has been bittersweet mentally. As for the move itself, I've really just been realizing the people who are in my life to support me and realizing how to kind of let things go and not get to you. I've been learning to separate parts of my life. I've been learning to be grateful for the pieces that I do have and who I am and where I am and not just where I want to be and then be grateful. I I do feel like the hard part is a lot of people judge necessarily like people who do know me, like that are close, like family and stuff. I think they all assume that I just up and moved because I'm, impulsive, that I am this 24-year-old who wants to go live her best life, wants to go party. I've never been a partier. I just left because I think Kansas City is boring. And that's not true. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are in the role that are supposed to reach out to me, check on me, that are supposed to know. I literally uprooted my whole life. Like literally just left. And besides the aunt I live with now, no one else has contacted me. No one's asked me why I moved. No one's asked me if I'm okay. No one's checked in. No one will ask if I'm breathing. And I was kind of hard because I don't know, it kind of confirmed what everything I felt while I was in Kansas City, and I'm trying to learn to be okay being alone. Be big someday. I want y'all to remember this moment. I moved here to Dallas, Texas, August 27th, 2021, baby. Kennedy Alexis Bright is going to do something big here. Kennedy Alexis Bright is about to have some big blessings, okay? I'm grateful for this journey. I'm grateful for this experience. Grateful that I have a roof over my head, I have food in the fridge. I'm grateful that I have a bed. I'm so grateful for everything that you have done for me so far. And that is one thing, this whole process, I've gotten so much closer to God, you guys. I've gotten so close to Him. Right now, I feel like I'm in that growing pain. I'm in that like painful phase of transitioning. This is a terrible example, but you guys, if you ever watch like Vampire Diaries or anything, like when the werewolves, when they transform from human to werewolf, they break every bone in their body. They talk about how painful that transition is every full moon. And I feel like I'm in this phase of like, it's painful. I feel like I'm a burn victim. Right now they are doing the little sponge bath. Every day it's a sponge bath. Every day I'm ripping things off, the dead skin, and it hurts. But I know I'm going to have beautiful skin underneath, beautiful skin. But right now it's hard. It's hard losing people who share your own blood. It's hard losing people who you considered your friend that were like blood. It is so hard, but it's going to be worth it. The skin underneath is going to be beautiful. Once I get this dead skin off me fully, I'm going to know like my purpose. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to wake up and not just say I'm grateful, but truly feel grateful to feel grace. And I want to take you guys along me with this journey. I'm done thinking about what people who stalk me or haters think. I'm done seeing people see me be human and know that my life isn't perfect. God, we're going to do this together because I can't ever look for other people to show me their reality and feel relatable to them when I can't even share my own. I'm grateful for this platform, y'all. I'm grateful for this podcast. I got so much great stuff coming up with you guys. I cannot wait. And we're going to do this journey. And we're going to do this journey together too. We're going to get better together too. I cannot wait for the next episodes. I love you guys so much. Be sure to please, please, please subscribe if you are not. Follow us on our podcast Instagram. It's KC Locker Room Talk. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. I hope you will learn something from this journey that I'm going to be on when I document this. And I really hope you guys can learn some plays, to put in your playbook. Thank you guys so much. I will see you next episode. Bye, guys.